that in just a moment. So Coastal Bend Food Bank has been around since 1982. So this is our 44th year serving the greater Coastal Bend area. One of the things a lot of times people ask, is this just for Corpus Christi? And we say, no, it's bigger than Corpus. And then from there, they'll say, is it for Nueces County? And we'll say, no, it's bigger than that as well. So along with Nueces County, we also service the 10 surrounding counties in our area as well too. So in total, we serve 11 different counties. We go as far south as Kennedy County. So from that standpoint, you're about an hour from the Rio Grande Valley. We go as far north as McMullen County. So you're about an hour from San Antonio. We go as far west as Duval County, so you're about an hour from Laredo, and then we work our way up the coast and everything in between. So it's quite a service area. One of the things though that's interesting, especially as we work with our different groups here, one of the things that's really interesting, I think, that you'll find fascinating
You're very
is
kind.
our
Appreciate that.
surface area of the clients that we serve. Close to 20% of the population in the Coastal Bend region live at the poverty level or below. So as a result, there's quite a bit of need, and it's not just food insecurity. So there's lots of different things, hence the reason why we've got other areas where we serve.
I will just mention, if you're in the group that's doing need statement, hope you're taking lots of notes here.
And need not worry if you have any questions, and especially as the groups start to form. Usually Dr. Etheridge arranges this in such a way where there's going to be a lead within your group. And then that lead person will contact me or Dr. Etheridge, and then we'll answer whatever questions that you have. So that hopefully starts to give you a little bit of a landscape or an idea of who we serve and what we do. Now, from the standpoint of clients that we serve, we work with everyone. There's kids initiatives, there's initiatives that impact senior adults, single moms, college students, and everything in between. So for instance, on your campus at A&M Corpus, we have Izzy's Pantry. And that's an initiative that we partner with A&M Corpus. So those are some of the things that we do, and it's not just A&M Corpus, it's A&M Kingsville, it's Del Mar College. On occasion, we'll get a chance to do a few things with Coastal Bend College in Beeville and Alice. So those are some of the individuals that are impacted. Also too, one of the things, the food bank here, we're affiliated with a group that's called Feeding America. Has anyone ever heard of Feeding America? Okay, so what Feeding America is, for those of you that haven't heard about it, it's a network of 200 food banks that are spread out through all 50 states and Puerto Rico. So as all of us come together as a food bank network, we make sure that every single county in the U.S. and Puerto Rico have access to food source. So that hopefully gives you an idea that we're not just a fly-by-night organization that just showed up on the scene. So hopefully that starts to give you an idea of who we are. Also, we're a 501c3 organization, so we rely on the funding of an assortment of different donors. So it could be individuals, it could be businesses as well too, but then also too, it's foundations as well too that give to the food bank, and hence that's where you will come in as you write your proposals that will go to various foundations that may have an interest in supporting a food bank. So that starts to give you, once again, the backdrop of what we do. One thing I always like to do is this. How many of you remember your health class from high school or maybe elementary school, or who knows, maybe a science class, okay? All right, who thinks they're brave enough to name the 5 food groups?
majors.
The biomedical students.
Dairy.
Okay, so someone's gonna give it a whirl, so,
Fruits and vegetables.
okay, dairy,
Dairy, grains, fruits and vegetables, and then meats, right? Meats and then fish?
that would be protein.
Yeah.
So carb.
That's fine.
I heard carbs, no carbs. But grains,
Grains, dairy.
fruits, dairy, fruits,
Fruits, vegetables, and
vegetables.
then protein.
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it. So, well, it was a combination. So that's a good group exercise, okay? So we're getting you ready of working together as a team. Sometimes we can pull it off individually, but more often than not, it's incredible what we can do collectively. So those are always some fun things. But back to, for us here at the food bank, the 5 things that we do. Of course, what people know us for the most part is food distributions. So with us, with the distributions that we do here, like I said, we cover 11 counties. And as we do our distributions, we try to provide those 5 different food groups that we talked about. And with that, what we are here, and in a moment we'll get a chance to just kind of do it, just a little walkthrough through the warehouse. So what we are here is more of a distribution center because we are approximately a staff of 48 people, but we are also nearly 5,000 volunteers every year that help us accomplish our mission, which is to feed our neighbor. And we can't do it by ourselves. So it takes the volunteers, it takes what we call our pantry partners. And we have, goodness, nearly 130 pantry partners spread out through the 11 counties that we serve. Like we say, we can't do it all here because we can't expect maybe that person in the northern part of our service area to make their way down the Corpus. Yes, ma'am.
So is the island a pantry partner? The university?
Yes, they are, as a matter of fact. So yes, so that is one of our pantry partners. So our pantry partners can be schools. A lot of our pantry partners are actually in churches, so from various denominations. But then also too, we also work with other groups like Salvation Army, Good Samaritan, Metro Ministries, just to give you an idea of some of the groups that we're able to work with and impact. So that's one of the things that we truly believe it's all through collaboration that allows us to do what we do. So like I said, we've got our food distribution side of things. The next thing that we have, and all of the remaining 4 programs that we have, all developed organically, just from the standpoint of now that someone receives food, then we get usually the question, what do I do with it? You'd be surprised with the amount of people that aren't quite sure, what do I do with these fresh fruits and vegetables? What can I do with something that I can't microwave or just eat it out of the can or the pouch? So this is where our nutrition program came into being, to kind of give people an idea of what can I do with the food. And then also too, the education piece of, okay, what should I be eating? Like we said, I know somebody mentioned carbs, and carbs are good, but if we eat too many carbs, that can have an adverse effect. So also too, another thing is they do various cooking demonstrations. So if I can direct your attention this way, you see this, and we call this our show kitchen or our kitchen classroom. One of the things that we get a chance to do there is have demonstrations of what you can do with the food product. So we have our team of nutrition educators that go, and as you can see, there's 2 video monitors there. It's set up to be a group of 16. But if we have extra people like we would here, we can just open up that glass curtain right there, and then we can have others that put their chairs out and they can see everything that's going on. So there in those classes, they talk about What can I do with some of the foods that I have? Let's talk about the 5 food groups. Also too, as college students, you know that resources can be a challenge and you've got to stretch the resources that you have. So one popular course that they teach is cooking on a budget, and what does that look like? So those are some of the things that they get a chance to do. Also, they go into the schools, they go and work with local organizations that work with senior adults, working with them. They also work in conjunction with our diabetes program, which is the third thing that we do. One of the things, and especially for our biomedical students, you'll start to notice very quickly as you start to see our population here in Corpus, one of the things that unfortunately adversely affects quite a few people in the greater South Texas area is diabetes. At one point, Corpus Christi was the amputation capital of the U.S. because of diabetes complications. But in conjunction with various of our hospital groups here and us and others, we've worked to really educate our community on diabetes. Just because you have diabetes, it doesn't mean life ends. It's just working with it and being able to manage it properly. Once you know what you're dealing with, that's half the battle right there. So we have a group of diabetes educators that provide a 8-week seminar that's absolutely free to share with those dealing with diabetes how to properly manage that. So as we talked about carbs, it's not that carbs are bad, but it's all about portion control. Also too, within that class, they also learn about just managing insulin. That can be scary for some people, especially if they're having to do their own injections and what that looks like. So that's the third thing that we
If I can just mention
Yes.
real quickly, we were the first food bank in the United States to have a nurse on staff and to have diabetes education. And this program has been so successful that many other food banks in the United States are imitating or using what Corpus Christi does as a model, because it's really been phenomenally effective, because they get the people in. They do teach about medication compliance, but they weigh them. They teach them. They give them food. They talk about the role that food plays in diabetes management, things like that, and it's just a phenomenally successful program. Doctors actually don't believe the results that are reported because they're so dramatic. But when they see that it's sustained over time, they're like, hey, there's really something there. So that's something that this food bank is a real pioneer for. So
Exactly. So one of the markers that they use just to track progress is A1C levels, which is the blood sugar level. So usually, more often than not, the students do very well and are able to lower their A1C levels, and also to shed a few pounds as well too. But more importantly, they have the information to be able to work through their diagnosis of what they have. The next thing that we do, and once again, it just morphed organically as we start to talk with people and see what are their needs, we find out too, more often than not, a lot of the clients we serve, food insecurity is just one of the issues that they're dealing with. Hence, social services comes into play. Now, we can't be all things to all people, but we know people. So, for instance, one of the things that we know, especially for those that are from the area, one of the biggest issues, along with water, we're not really working on that initiative, but one of the things is affordable housing. So one of the things is we work with the local housing authority, also to just various apartment complexes where we have some partnerships and do what are called non-agency drops. So that can be some things that we can kind of point people that direction. Or there's other nonprofits in the area that do rental assistance or utility assistance as well too. We know people at the VA, so that's another group at times that can be used for our veterans. So we can kind of point them that direction with some of the things that they're able to do. Sometimes too, another big thing is just jobs and job training. So this is where another great partner that we have is Texas Workforce Commission, or Del Mar, or A&M Corpus, where we know people there that we can just kind of funnel the students or the clients that we serve, neighbors there, and that they can visit with someone, whether it's in financial aid or admissions or student services. So those are just some of the things that they're able to do. In addition to our social service team, they also help individuals if they're needing to fill out their SNAP application for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And then the final thing that we do is emergency response. Since we live here in the coastal bend, we know one of these days it's going to rain. And with that being said, we know that this is an area that is prone to storms. So in the event of a storm, we work with all of the local emergency management groups. Now, it doesn't have to be a hurricane. As a matter of fact, this weekend, we work with the emergency response team from Corpus and the warming centers to provide them with snacks and waters, and not just here in Corpus, but throughout our county as well too. Another thing that we see on occasion here, especially in our rural communities, is water boils. So in the event of water boils, we can also provide water to them, bottled water, gallon water. Also too, we partner with American Red Cross. So in the event if someone loses their home in a fire, we can also assist them with supplies that they may need, whether it's the food product. On occasion, we'll get household items, pots, pans, griddles, things of that nature that we can supply. Another group that we work with is Habitat for Humanity. So when there's a new house that's ready to be keys given to a family, we can also stock their pantry as well too. So that just hopefully starts to give you an idea of what we do. So it's a lot of different things that happen, but of course all of this is made possible through the kindness of wonderful friends and donors that make this all happen. So those are just kind of some of the things that we get a chance to do. Do you think I missed something?
You're good.
Yeah, so all right. So that, I know you were probably just wanting a little bit of information, a little sip of water, but I doused you with the water hose. So I know we covered a lot of things very quickly, but questions that you may have about the food bank. All right, first few hands. Okay, yes ma'am.
So you said earlier that your mission statement was to feed your neighbor.
Feed our neighbor.
To feed our neighbor. Is that like y'all's like set?
And that is actually
mission
more of our, what we call our unofficial mission statement. We'll
Gotcha.
get you our official mission
Awesome.
statement. So yes, but
Okay.
usually that's one thing.
Sums
At
it
the
up
end of the
nicely.
day, it sums it up nicely
Gotcha.
that we're here to feed our neighbor. The one thing, especially as we deal with food insecurity does not discriminate. It doesn't matter who you are, boy, girl, child, senior adult. It doesn't ask what your political affiliation is or what you identify as. It's like, when you're hungry, and we don't really ask the questions. It's how can we serve you?
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you said they had educators for the diabetes program as well as the, what was it?
Nutrition education.
The nutrition, are those volunteers or are those on-staff people?
Those are on-staff people.
So they are paid within the budget that you have?
Correct, yes.
Are those two separate accounts that like you have to be pulled from for the grants?
Correct, exactly.
And on average, how many like people on staff do you have for the diabetes education system?
Sure, yes. So we have 2 2.5 per se. So it's 2 official staff members and then another person that's a contract person.
Is it Georgina and Shelby?
Actually, Shelby is we had one of our staff members that just recently completed her PhD. So she was our, I guess, head educator. So she has just recently left us. So we have 2 nutrition educators on our nutrition side. On our diabetes side, we have 2 people. We've got a registered nurse who's a certified diabetes educator, and then her assistant. And then we have a third party or a contract registered dietitian.
Okay. Trish, you had a question?
Oh, yeah, I was wondering, for the cooking demonstrations, are they all like solely live, or are they also like recorded and put online?
It just varies, but yes and yes. So some of them are put online, especially with the program that we do that's called Culinary Kits for Kids. And this works very similar to HelloFresh, where we provide students or kids, it's usually elementary age kids, with a little bag. And in that bag, it has all their ingredients and they have a recipe card. And that's something that they can do with their family, is make this recipe. And this came about because of COVID. One of the things our educators go into the schools, but during COVID, as some of you may remember, everything was done online and classrooms were virtual, so we couldn't get into the classroom, but we were able to do our education with these kits that they would come and pick up, and then they would go to our YouTube channel and they would see the cooking demonstration. Now that we're in a post-COVID world, some people still access them, but the preference is to be in person.
Yeah. One of the cool variations they did of this is a lot of times kids don't eat well because their parents don't eat well. So they developed a program where they would basically, they would get the kids to bring these kits home and then familiarize with the parents with these foods, and then they would get, and the kids would get the parents to have more fruits and vegetables. So it's kind of like a gateway drug in a way.
Right. So the metric was, are they now adding more fruits and vegetables to their daily diet? And getting them to try some different things. Through that as well, we work with parents of how you can be creative to add fruits and vegetables. So one way to add some vegetables into the diet, here's a for instance, is marinara sauce or your pasta sauces. What you do, you puree those veggies, you mix it into the sauce, and they're like, oh, okay, and voila. Also too, just having them try some other fruits, and not that we got into the exotic fruits, but when you think about it, most kids, if they're gonna have fruits, it's gonna be one of 3 things. It's either gonna be an apple, an orange, or a banana. So those are some of the things, but one of the things we tried to do was incorporate berries, so whether it's a blueberry, a blackberry, a strawberry, and you can do some fun things with it. So we kind of had within this is something that's really simple, that's called fluff, and basically it's Cool Whip and just other things that we would add just depending on the season. So for instance, we have a fall fluff, which is pumpkin puree and Cool Whip. When you mix it together, it turns out quite nice. And that's a way to get kids involved. You know, another thought is if you puree strawberries, you add that to the Cool Whip, now you've got a strawberry fluff. And it's like, wow, it's kind of
Summer
reddish
fluff.
pink. Yeah, so you can just do different things, or just think of whatever berry, blueberry, add that to the Cool Whip. So kind of like ranch dressing, everything goes with ranch dressing. Yeah, you can kind of go that with Cool Whip. And then you can do the light version as well too. So I know we had some hands in here. So yes, we'll start here.
Okay, so since we're focused on protein,
Uh-huh.
what is y'all's current source of protein? And what are y'all looking for?
You know, to be honest, okay, great. So question is protein, what type of proteins do we use here? For us, you know, that is one of our biggest challenges that we have. Just to kind of give you some more kind of background, for us, one of the easiest things that we can acquire is fresh produce. With our location here in Corpus Christi, we're only 2 hours from the Rio Grande Valley. We can secure an 18-wheeler load of produce for about $2,800, just depending. So we can get a lot of fresh produce. So those are some of the nice things that we work with. But when we get to protein, that becomes a little more challenging because there's a higher cost, especially when you start getting into beef. That's one of the biggest requests that we have. We have that on occasion, but for those of you that do shopping at whether it's Walmart, HEB, a meat market, can anyone kind of give us an idea of what the price of 1 pound of ground beef is?
$8.
Yes, exactly, on average, and that's kind of a middle of the road. If you get to something organic or lean, now you're looking at $10 to $12. So one of the things that we're able to secure, and a great partner that we have, is the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, and then also the Texas Department of Agriculture. So through the USDA, we're able to they help us get chicken at pretty affordable prices. So this will be leg quarters, it could be drumsticks or the chicken legs, which of course is fascinating because for those of us that are a little older, there was a time that was a treat if you got the drumstick. But if you talk to kids now, they kind of get a little weirded out or freaked out if they see a bone. When you think about it, most kids, and even maybe college students, the go-to is the chicken strip, chicken nugget. So we try to get that when possible. On occasion too, we'll get a fish stick or fish fillets, 1 and 2. So it all just depends what's in season. Through the Texas Department of Agriculture, we have a partnership, especially when we get into hunting season. There's a program that's called Hunters for the Hungry. So we're able to secure venison at a very affordable price. So some people, I saw that one expression, so either some people like it or some people don't. But if you have other proteins, you can kind of mix that with maybe if you have a little bit of ground beef. It's a very lean, but sometimes it can be gamey. But back to things like marinara sauce, when you add that in, okay, it kind of helps alleviate that. Now, it doesn't go with fluff, but you know, for some, you know, try something different. But that at least hopefully addresses that for our protein. Yes, sir.
And so, what would be like the scope of what you do with an extra fund to spend on it? And also, like, what about other kinds of protein sources like tofu and beans?
Right, okay, so once again, that's where the education piece, if I were to poll 10 people and say, hey, I've got tofu, how many people do you
0.
think? Yeah, very few. So as we go to this alternative meats or proteins, it's the education piece of that, which is the biggest challenge. But other forms of protein are the beans, peanut butter, but then one of the things you have to be careful with nuts because of nut allergies now too. So it's an assortment of things of what works best and the education piece. Now, from the standpoint of the amount of people that we impact on a yearly basis, it's pretty common for us to impact 100,000 people. So with 100,000 people that you're trying to serve, money goes quite quickly to try to feed 100,000 people. We know the challenge is to feed your family or you as an individual. Now just multiply that by 100,000. So that's where we will always use the funds that we have available. One thing, we're able to secure different items at lower prices just because of our ability to buy in volume with our other partners that we have. So one thing we always like to tell a donor is that for every dollar given, we can provide 4 meals to someone. So as we mentioned, we get donations also from our retail partners, which would be your H-E-B's, your Walmarts, Targets, Sprouts, Sam's, Dollar General, the base commissary. Sometimes certain restaurants, they may have some large canned items, what we call the number 12 can. So that's not something that an individual family would use, but those large cans we can share with the feeding agencies like Salvation Army, Metro Ministry, so things like that. So that helps us with our purchasing program, because the less that we have to buy, then we can focus on other things as well. Yes, ma'am.
With that, do they donate it monetarily or do they donate the actual product itself?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
So sometimes, especially with our retail friends like H-E-B, Walmart, Target, Sprouts, a lot of times when we get the product, it has, the shelf life is pretty short.
Right.
So then as we get it, we turn it out as quick as we can so that it can get to our pantry partners pretty quick. That gets us into another conversation, especially as you look at dates. Some dates are Best Buy date. Some are, it's kind of like, do not use expiration date. And sometimes even with the expiration date, it's usually still has a little bit more life. So that's other things that we try to educate people. Or right before it hits that, someone can freeze a product and then defrost at a later date when it's necessary. So, yes, ma'am.
Okay, how do you measure how effective your programs are? Like for the diabetes program, for example? How did you...
Sure. The metric for diabetes, for instance, has the A1C level decreased? Have they experienced some weight loss? Are they feeling healthier? How severe are their symptoms? Hopefully now they're more manageable and more controlled. And we do pre and post surveys as well. Great question. Wow. Yes.
You said that the purpose would be like something for
That was for produce.
Oh, it's really, okay, what would it be?
We're now looking at the multiple thousands of dollars so with that. So usually for those, it's all going to vary. But we're always looking for the deals of the day. So that's one of the things. So it will all vary. I know one of the things we were excited when we were able to secure some 1 pound beef chubs for about $2.50. So those are some things we're always on the lookout for. I know during the Thanksgiving season, instead of doing turkeys, we were doing 6 and 7 pound whole chickens. We're always looking for how can we best serve people. And with that 6, 7 pound chicken, we were getting that for 99 cents a pound. So, yes. Okay, yes, sir.
Sorry, previously we were discussing the cooking on a budget.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a event or a class that coincides with the diabetic services with diabetic cooking?
That's one of the things they do address. That's one of the topics that they do have. One of the things for their time when they do meet, the diabetes and nutrition team, they provide dinner for them. So they start to discuss what that looks like. So once again, for all of us, what does your plate look like? So the curriculum they use is called My Plate. So the more color you have on your plate, the better. Unfortunately, for many of us, our plate is usually brown or white with what color gravy we have. But of course, with more fruits and veggies, you want the greens, reds and yellows and oranges, colors on that, which represent the fruits and veggies, salad, those type of things. Yes, ma'am.
So with the diabetes education, you mentioned an 8-week program and the pre and post program survey. Do you have any longer term way to gather data or like returning?
Sure. One of the things, this program has been in existence now 16, 17 years. So one of the things that and the person that started this is still with us, which is fantastic. So she has a corporate memory of everything that's happened. One thing that she always tries to do is twice a year, she does what's called reunions, where the former students come back, they get a chance to see, hey, what's the progress, what's going on, what's happening, and then they can kind of get them back on track, especially if maybe they kind of veered off a little bit. Also, too, what it is just at times it's a lifestyle change, and it's like, what is it? Where do I see myself? And especially too, age can play a big role in this, because if someone is diagnosed with diabetes in their 20s in comparison maybe to someone in their 70s, you know, the one in the 70s, they may want to do it, but then they may be thinking, well, they start to kind of think, okay, how do I want to enjoy my latter years? Maybe for that 20, 30-year-old diabetic, they kind of say, oh, I've got 40, 50 more years. What does my quality of life look like? But everybody's different. You have that 30-year-old that says, it is what it is, and I'm gonna live life. And then that 70-year-old is gonna be like, no, these last years are gonna be solid. I wanna hang out with my grandkids, or they've got other things that they wanna do. So it's all that personal motivation of who wants to do it. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a way y'all address in the diabetes program the mental health aspect of like recent diagnosis?
That is something that kind of comes into play. More often than not, as the group gathers, it becomes a support group with one another, and a lot of times they use the educators as someone as a sounding board. So it once again, it will all kind of vary on that individual. Yes, sir.
In reference to the diabetes program, I noticed, obviously you stated like there's 11 counties that you guys serve, and I know a lot of them are rural areas. How often does the diabetes program make it out to those areas? Is it offered out there?
Sure. The challenge is finding a partner in those rural areas, and if they're open to it. Our biggest challenge, especially in the rural areas or these smaller counties, is their reception to a group coming in from Corpus, because we're the outsider coming in, and what does that look like? So the whole key is finding a wonderful partner that they can say, yeah, the food bank's legit. This is a good thing to do. So we've had our challenges. We've tried to take the show on the road to go to the rural areas. The results have been mixed, because they start off great, like they'll be there the first session, but then by the time we get to week 8, you may have 1 or 2 students.
I'm going to
Those
just,
are some of the challenges
sorry.
that we have.
I want us to be respectful of Mr. Morales' time. I don't know if y'all know, he opened up the food bank for us, so I don't know if you noticed that it's not open right now. So one more question, and then you can give us the tour.
Sure. Okay, who hasn't asked a question yet? All right, Dr. Etheridge, you pick who's going to ask the last
No,
one.
she had her hand up.
Yes,
so.
Miss English.
I like that. Thank you. I have 2. You can answer whichever one you like more.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
The first is how does the diabetes program address the differences in how different ethnicities and races are affected by diabetes? I know it's especially prevalent in Hispanic communities.
Sure.
Us being a prevalently Hispanic community, how does the program address that? And then second, you began talking about the diabetes program, how at one point we were the amputation capital of the world. You said that y'all partnered with different hospitals. In what ways is that still happening, and what does that look like?
Sure. With that, just to address the amputation to help get the rates lower, it's not just a one-person problem. It's something that the community at large has to tackle as well too. So one is getting the information out and the education piece out, which is a huge component to this. So it's not just the food bank, it's the health system. It's also the insurance companies as well too. Even on a school level as well too, where it's a combination of things with nutrition educators, registered dietitians, the local healthcare community, doctors as well too, where they're also just trying to help and assist, especially the pediatricians when you're dealing with
Gestational as well.
and with that one, yes, with the OBGYNs and what that looks like. We know usually more often than not, once the mom has the baby, the levels usually return to normal, but that's not the case in some instances. So it's where everyone decides we just need to get the word out.
Gotcha.
So that's been happening over the past 15 years now. So that's it's taken us a while, but now we're doing that. But then also too, it's addressing not only nutrition, but once again, that healthy lifestyle. It's not just the eating component and portion size, it's also staying active and fit, and also addressing other potential health issues as well too. The second question, or the first question about diabetes and the Hispanic community, African American community, we don't necessarily just kind of focus on one group or another. It's more who is utilizing our services. So it's sure that's usually the biggest group that we see. When you think about, for instance, Nueces County, the Hispanic population is a little over 65%. So just by the sheer numbers, more often than not, you may have more Hispanics in your class. But it'll all just vary of who's gonna come to the class and who wants to utilize the program that's available to them. So,
Thank you so much.
oh, you're so welcome. So, all right, thank you for asking all these wonderful questions. Now, here's the other thing. What I told you, is it right?
Or we had to doubt you.
Or a question?
Yeah. No, and that's one of the things. For those of you that are going to be working with the diabetes class, one of the things Dr. Etheridge and we can work to get Georgiana Bradshaw, who oversees this program, also come and visit with you as well too. So just as the semester wears on, we can go to your classroom or however we want to.
That'd be
do
cool.
this.
Well, I'll
And-
contact her and see if
yes,
she
and
can zoom in or
kind of
come in.
also, address some of these questions, because as you can see, diabetes can get very technical very quickly. For those that are working on the protein, we have it a little easier. So one of the things with us, we know that is definitely a need that we have when we're feeding people, and we can just say that's just one of the things that usually most people will ask for, and just because of the sheer cost right now of protein, it's just, this is one of the things that's a big request for our families. So, but we'll work together on that. So.
All right, you want to give us a tour?
Sure, we can do that. I want to be respectful of your time as well. So I'll give you the nickel tour, and I probably will have to owe each of you $1 or something. So, yeah.
Have to go towards my college.
Yeah.
Let's steal that chair.
Okay. Now, in case it wasn't clear, I don't know the majority, but a good chunk of all the food, millions of dollars of what they get is recovered food from H-E-B, Walmart, Sprouts, the dollar stores and things like that. And that's pretty common. It didn't used to be when I first started working with the food bank. HEB would not let food banks have recovered food because the liability risks were so high. And this food bank, again, I mean, I realize it sounds, I realize I sound like a cheerleader, but this food bank convinced HEB as a company that they could maintain cleanliness and health standards high enough that they could take the recovered food and distribute it to clients safely. And so that's kind of the big chunk of what we're going to see is how the recovered food works.
Right.
So
what is recovered food?
okay, used by, your milk's going to expire in 3 days, or whatever.
So it's close to the expiration.
Or food, and he mentions, I don't want to oversimplify, but because there's sell by date, expiration date, and there's some other
Best
things,
by.
best by date, things like that. But sometimes stores will, if it's within X number of days of expiring, they'll go ahead and take it off the shelves. Sometimes it's hit that date, but it's still going to be good for X number of days after that. They'll turn around and very quickly get it back. They're amazingly good about getting stuff turned around
So
and out.
Here's a good example. Usually when you go to Walmart, HEB, they've got the pretty fruit, the apples, the oranges, the bananas. This is what they call the grade A produce. On occasion, you may get some produce that's more kind of a B or C grade, and that's when they call us and say, hey, food bank, we got something for you. So it may be kind of like a misshaped or kind of, instead of this just really beautiful orange, it's kind of maybe not as orange.
Has some personality.
Yeah, and it's kind of maybe a little more off along. So that's where they come to us. But it's still good. It still has the nutritional value. It still works and doable. So that's an example of something. Or there may be a store that just ordered in excess of something, and then they call us. Or also too during the holidays. Here's a great example. Thanksgiving, usually we're going to get all of the leftover brown and served rolls, or all of the extra pies, or turkey gravy, or mashed potato flakes, or stuffing. So then we know as we go and start picking things up, that's usually what's going to come back.
There are your carbs, anyway.
Exactly. So those are some examples of some things. So, yeah. So as you can see, as you came in here to the food bank, we're excited about this building. This building here is a little over 2 years old. So we came from a 22,000 square foot facility to now 108,000 square foot facility. So we've got a lot of space to do lots of different things. So we've got a space where now we have a parking lot. Dr. Etheridge remembers our old place where our parking lot, if we could get 20 cars, that was a stretch, and that was kind of a traffic jam there. So now not only can we have different things going on, we can have simultaneous activities going on. We can have a diabetes class, we can have a cooking class, we can have volunteers sorting through products, and we may even have some guests participating upstairs in our community room that we have. So lots of different things that we can do. In addition to that, we also do a distribution here 3 times a month. One is what we call our general distribution, where we serve well over 500 families, and then we line them up, and then they go through our drive-through right over here, what we call our pavilion. Also, we do one for senior adults, where we have nearly 600 senior adult families that are here. And then we do a special distribution for our diabetes group, which is about 170 families that are served. So those are some of the different things that we can do. But as you start and you enter in, you come in that front door, we have our receptionist, that's the face and the friendly voice of the food bank. And then as a guest arrives, then they just say, okay, I'm here to see this person, or I'm gonna be here to do this, that, or the other. So one of the first groups that we have here is our social service team. We talked about them. So they've got the space where they can have private conversations with that individual or family and just do a needs assessment or figure out where they need to go and maybe what other partner that we have to help address their needs. In case that they say, well, I'm here for the nutrition class. Well, this is where the classroom activity takes place right over here. As we come down this way, we have our diabetes classroom that is located right over there. So usually with this, when we do our diabetes class, this is something that's usually capped within the 18 to 20 person capacity, just because there's a lot of personal attention that goes to our diabetes client. As we work our way over here, I just want to direct your attention to our map right here. So this gives you an idea of the 11 counties that we serve. Like we said, here is Kennedy County right here. We go as far north as McMullen, Live Oak County right there. Go as far west as Duval. Also Brooks County, Falfurrias, for those of you that kind of know your South Texas geography. And then of course work our way up the coast and everything in between. So
You look like a weatherman, by the way.
Yes,
But I would take a
exactly.
photo of this
Yes,
because
yes.
you're at some point when you're writing your grant, you're going to be like, what were those 11 counties again?
Yes,
So,
That's the first thing I thought of.
yeah.
So
So,
there we go. Yes, ma'am.
See the diabetes room real quick?
Sure, for you, of course. So you just go out over there, and there should be a sensor, or we'll go kind of check on that at the end. Okay? Yeah. So perfect. This area right here is our volunteer orientation room. Like we said, we have thousands of volunteers that come. One thing A&M Corpus is always really good about sending different groups, whether it's doing the big thing or the little thing. Also too, we've had the nursing program come out here. Various Islander athletic teams have come out here, from softball to volleyball to basketball. So they've been out here as well. So here the individuals can kind of check in, but if we have a group, they just go right here into our orientation room. They get their, I guess, task of what they're going to be doing, and then we send them off here into our warehouse area over here. So how's the A&M Corpus football team doing? Undefeated still? Yeah.
yes, undefeated in football. Yeah.
Yeah.
Us and Texas women's.
Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa.
They actually have T-shirts undefeated since 1901 or whatever. Texas women's. Go ahead.
Like, we don't have a football team.
Well, yeah, Texas women's. Same thing. No football. Okay, here. This is why they're going, wow. See, this is a massive space.
Welcome now to the warehouse. So as we're here in this facility right here, we said our food bank is 108,000 square feet. Of that 108,000 square feet, 65,000 is just for our warehouse. We have 3 areas for our warehouse. We have our dry area right here, and then on the side over there, you see maybe a white wall over there. Behind that wall is where we have our freezer and our cooler. So, so we have frozen items, we've got cold items, and then our dry items as well too. So we kind of sort through all of those different things. As we receive food donations, we work through everything. We separate, and then once it's separated and we have our various categories, we'll group those categories and put them into the banana boxes and get them ready to share with our neighbors. So it could be canned items, it could be baking items, it could be condiments, it could be household items, it could be paper goods. So it's all just going to vary. Sometimes too, we're human like everybody else, and we even have cookies and snacks as well too. So yes, we try to go healthy, but we're all realistic. If we look at our individual pantry, that's what we also try to provide to our neighbors as well too. So it could be a cake mix, it could be frosting, but then it could be beans or rice or garbanzos or black beans or peanut butter or cereal. So lots of different things that we have. You get one more question.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
just
just a
kidding.
very dumb person. So like products like that that are damaged because they have to like have a partnership with
Right.
where like what do you guys do with that?
With that, if it's salvageable, we can tape it and then get it going. The most important thing is that it has the listing of ingredients. And because that's extremely important. If you don't have what's in it, then because of food allergens, that could have an adverse reaction to that individual. We don't want them to get sick or the allergies. Now, there's some things that we can't salvage, so if they're punctured, if they're damaged, then we've got a discard pile for that. So great question. So, great. So as we work our way down this way, and the light will automatically come on. So that's one of the things of how we try to conserve energy as well and be energy efficient as well too. So we have our warehouse broken up into different things of what we've got. So like I said, knowing that we had the storm, the winter storm, we have some waters that are just readily available right here. So we're also too, as we're coming out of the Christmas season, we got a lot of donations of Christmas type related items. So we got an abundance of gingerbread houses. So, just kind of working through that, but also some other fun Christmas candy as well too. But one of the things that we are always in need of is various canned items, pop-top items, especially as we work with the homeless as well too. So when you're working with a homeless group, you just can't give them a bag of leg quarters or a beef chub because where are they going to cook it? So with that, that's where cooking or crackers and peanut butter, pop-pops for a fruit cocktail or canned chicken, canned tuna is what works best for them, for Nobler bars, things of that nature. So as we just kind of work our way through, you'll see some of the things that we work through. A new partnership that we have is with the Gulf Coast Humane Society as well too. So along with feeding our two-legged friends, we're also working with our four-legged friends as well too. So just a few weeks ago, we did a distribution for pets. So we'll work our way down this way. We have an assortment of different things that come our way. So it will all just vary, especially with gifts or donations that come from stores. But we'll have all sorts of different things. Let's see, so remember how I was telling you about the gingerbread houses? Here they are. So this came from HEB. But then we'll also have household goods as well too, some snacks as well. So one of the things, as we talked about, we have our pantry partners. So what they do, they have what's called a shopping list. So they'll see all the different products that we have, fruits, vegetables, canned items, proteins. So just like you, they make their list and they place their order. So then what they do is they will come pick up their orders that they place, very much like curbside, and we'll just say, hey, come to this door at this time and we'll have your product ready. Or for those that maybe are more in those distant areas, this is where our transportation team gets the product and delivers it to them. So it all just kind of varies with what we do. So what they'll do is, it's a large warehouse, so just depending on the product, they will pull their order, get it all ready for them to either be picked up or delivered. So one of the things is we have 13 docks where we have our trucks going out to the respective areas, either doing deliveries or picking up items as well. another thing that
Took a picture of those.
have what are called food boxes, and within this food box, it's just an assortment of different things that are taken care of that when they receive their box. So they already have their respective things of what they ordered. So some already have their respective box. Some have the canned items or rice items, grains. So it will all just vary. So each pantry is different from the standpoint of how many people they serve. Also the neighbors that they get to know. Because for one area, a certain product may be very popular, but then in another area, they'd be like, no, I don't want that. I want this instead. So we try to have a variety of different things. But as we know, you can't make everybody happy, but you try the best that you can to provide the best quality of product and service to our neighbors. So, yes. So, like I said, through that door right over there gets us into the freezer and cooler area. We have what's called our cold dock. So when we're receiving the protein, for instance, it stays at 38 degrees. So for that protein product, let's just say it's chicken, nobody wants chicken sitting out in the warm South Texas sun. So we just try to get it into the cold dock and then get it to its respective spot, which is usually the freezer. Our freezer is at -1, -2 degrees, and then the cooler stays at about 34 degrees. So there we have our assortment of different products. So in our cooler, just imagine a giant refrigerator where we have dairy products. We've got some of our produce that's in there as well too. And then in the freezer, that's usually where we have the protein. On occasion, we'll get a gift from Bluebell, and we'll get some ice cream, which is always very well received as well. Sometimes we'll get donations from Pepsi or Coca-Cola, and it'll be the sports drink. Sometimes we will get those test sodas that nobody wanted, but they will make our way here. So one of the things that was interesting, 7-Up had I guess a 7-Up product with cranberry.
Spiced cranberry.
Spice, yes. So we got
like that one, yeah.
yeah, so it was somewhat so received. Also, the distributor that does A&W root beer, we got 50 cent A&W root beer. That was one where it was like, maybe. Another one that was quite interesting for the fall that we had a hard time going through and giving out was pickled potato chips, or pickled fresh flavored potato chips. So it's one of those 50-50, either you absolutely love it or
I like them.
so, but that's always one of the things. It gives you something new to try. So we'll just kind of work our way back over here. When we do our distributions, we just open up those bay doors right there, and we can get our product out and get to our the vehicles go through, and we'll get them all set up right over here. So. Yes, ma'am.
How can we volunteer? Like, how does that process?
Sure. All you have to do is just call us here at the food bank, 887-6291, or just go to our website, coastalbendfoodbank.org, and you can come and volunteer. We always love having volunteers, whether you're sorting through food or helping with the distribution as well, too. So, yes, lots of things that you can do. So, great question. So we'll just kind of loop our way back over here. We can walk and walk and walk, but once you've seen one rack with product, you've seen one rack with product. So.
You guys, he is nice to you. Last year he made everybody go in the freezing room,
Right.
in the 0-degree room.
Exactly.
He was
In there?
yeah. Didn't lock him in, but shortening.
that's just what the box is. We get recycled boxes, so we got a great deal on boxes. So we're very thrifty here at the food bank. So we want to make our dollars stretch here.
Cool.
So, like I said, this was just a quick little tour. I want to be respectful for your time because I want to say you have a optional second part of class.
Yeah, yes. Just, so the second part of class, undergrads don't have to come. Don't see a lot of point in going back to the university. So is it okay if we have the second part of class at the Whataburger by the Bay?
Is it? Of course.
Yeah, okay. And undergrads are welcome to come, but it's not required.
Those that wanted to see the diabetes room,
Yeah.
you can just follow me.
Yeah.
and just kinda-
Yeah, we'll do a quick run looking at the diabetes room. Can you follow him?
I
So
absolutely
desperately have
can.
to go to the men's room.
Absolutely.
Remember where it is.
I think it's past the lettuce.
Okay, all right.
To the right and the right.
Follow him, not me.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, this is cool. Wow.
So here of course, they've got their screen right here so they can go through the curriculum. Also too, when they're in here, they're always continually monitoring what does their A1C level look like. So they've got the A1C monitor, they learn how to do those finger pricks or the checks. And then also too, like we said, one of the things when they're registering for the class, we do the pre-survey. Also too, we take some measurements as well too, kind of height, weight. We calculate BMI as well too. So we kind of see where they started off. And then when the 8-week program finishes, we repeat everything again, and hopefully we've seen some progress with where they are. So yes, so that's just
Very
a little
cool.
bit of what's going on. So it looked like the class that they had. As you can see, they were just talking a little bit about the nutrition piece and what does your plate look like. So yes, it's just some of these type things. I know just enough to be dangerous. As Dr. Hubbard mentioned, I was doing some fundraising, but I've kind of shifted hats a little bit, and that's another thing for those of you, like we said, that are considering a career in nonprofit work, is always be prepared to do something else. So right now I'm working more on our food operations side of things, working with transportation, logistics, the ordering process, working with our agencies. So it's something a little different, but my background, I've been working in nonprofit work now for well over 30 years, 33 years. So
And he's a TAM UCC alum, so.
I did. So I got, I did my graduate work there, got my MBA, and this was a time when there was no online classes. You actually had to go to class, and it was night
here physically?
Yeah, you were actually in the classroom. So I graduated from A&M Corpus in '97.
You're on the football team?
I was, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really? Well, I think we all are.
Yeah, exactly.
You know me.
So I was on the 8th string team.
The one behind the bench.
Yes, exactly. And then I did my undergraduate work at Sick and Bears at Baylor. So it was a great experience. I grew up in Corpus Christi, like many